The speech that disarms, dissolves, and disappears you, as decoded by Sam Vaknin and revealed through M-Pit collapse. Sam walks, we talk. As Professor Sam Vaknin elucidates, the narcissist language is not merely manipulative, it is structurally symbolic, a set of reflexive defenses built into the architecture of a grandiose false self. Impit identifies this speech not just as relationally damaging, but symbolically disfiguring. It begins as seduction but ends in silence, not just of words, but of self. This analysis explores how narcissistic speech dissolves our authorship, disorientates our perception, and ultimately disappears us. Each section below corresponds not only to a communicative tactic, but to a phase in the collapse of the survivor's psyche. The speech that disarms, the initiation of collapse. The narcissist does not seduce, they solicit. Vaknin teaches this. Opening act is not about desire, but about projective co-idealization. We are induced to see ourselves through their gaze. Compliments are crafted to be accepted as identity. Praise is entrainment. Curiosity is cold empathy. As Sam Vaknin says, they reframe your reality by reflecting an idealized version of you, one that does not exist. This entrainment begins the recursive loop. We begin echoing back their admiration, reanimating our own false self. It feels like connection, but it's a trap. This moment marks the birth of mirrored psychic inversion. The self begins to bend towards the gaze. This is a stage where epistemic trust begins to collapse, the speech that dissolves. Vaknin identifies a number of speech patterns designed to destabilize the internal compass of the survivor. Starting with confabulation, fabricated narratives are presented with conviction, often blending truth with falsehood. You begin to doubt your own recall. Gaslighting by equivacy. Statements are deliberately ambiguous, so interpretation becomes impossible. Meaning is layered, fluid, and contradictory. Counterfactuality. Assertions that contradict lived experiences are delivered with authority. That never happened. You imagined it. Entrainment. Repetition of phrases, slogans, or semantic structures designed to override the subject's language with theirs. Circular speech, a conversation that loops, avoids resolution, and erodes cognition by design. The goal is not to communicate, but to confuse. Palindromic logic, speech that mirrors your own concerns back at you in reverse, redirecting blame while appearing reflective. As Sam Vaknin says, they engage in deliberate semantic destabilization. The aim is not to win the argument, it is to make the argument possible. This is not the destruction of belief, it is the recursive remapping of internal logic. The survivor begins to mistrust even their own process of knowing. Now language becomes a weapon of absence. What was once seductive or destabilizing becomes void. Strategic silence, withdrawal as punishment, refusal to engage, ghosting, or monosyllabic replies that mirror apathy. Semantic negation, phrases like "you're too sensitive" or "you're making something out of nothing," which erase your effective presence. Blame shifting and alloplastic deflection. Accountability is pushed outward. Any attempt to speak truth is pathologized. You become the identified patient. At this stage, the survivor is not just lost, they are symbolically erased. The internal voice no longer speaks with confidence, the introjects take over. Sam would tell us that when the narcissist stops speaking to you, they are not punishing you, they are demonstrating that you never existed. The survivor's silence. Now inside this echo chamber, we are still talking, but it's not to them, it's to their internal object that has taken up residence in us. The conversations become with the false self, imagined versions of them, and the parts of ourselves we abandoned. This is a symbolic inversion. We become the gaslighter of ourselves, reflexively scanning for what we must have done wrong, believing that if we could just phrase it differently, they might return. No communication was ever had. Wagner teaches that narcissistic speech is not communication, it is object manipulation. What we interpreted as dialogue was entrainment. What we believed was connection was simulation. They were never with us. The words we heard were defensive psychic mechanisms, not relational utterances. The survivor does not survive the speech. They must rebuild new language to reclaim authorship. Until then, they are caught in the mirrored recursion of the speech that disarmed, dissolved, and disappeared them. Peace out. Loads of love.